and maybe another Derby contender coming out of this year's consignment for Kip Elser. Boy, what a career he has had as a consigner, and he joins us now on the Equine Forum, presented by Lane's End on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Kip, good morning.
Morning, Mike. Boy, that's a pretty good clip to start with. That's fun to hear that again.
Yeah, we figured we'd take you on a little trip down memory lane.
Great. Thanks for that.
Well, Plum Pretty, just one of several standouts from your program. You're looking at names like Plum Pretty, Winter Memories, Alphabet Soup, Memories of Silver, Soaring Softly. I mean, the list goes on and on, Kip. It's been an amazing run for you.
Well, we've been doing it quite a while. We've been lucky with some very, very nice horses, some wonderful clients to have them for, and a great group of people at home and at the sales to help us get the whole job done.
What's the key to having this type of success for this long, Kip?
Just keep showing up, persistence, do the same job at the game. As you know, as everybody knows, you've got to climb a very steep pyramid all the time to get to the top. But no one day can get you down. Just keep showing up and do the job you know how to do. That's it, persistence.
Well, the other hallmark of your consignment is honesty, and the hard work and the honesty, I think, is what's really propelled you into the spotlight and to have the types of horses that you have, because it really makes a difference when you're up front with your customers and the people that are purchasing the horses off of you.
Well, we work very hard at whatever level people are buying at to have a horse be what we say he is when he leaves us. They can't all go on and do well, but what we work very hard at is have them be what we say they are when they leave, and then hopefully they'll be lucky and go on from there.
Kip, this OBS Sales comes on the heels of the Fasig-Tipton sale here at Gulfstream, which was held a couple of weeks ago, and that sale was extremely strong. What's the state of the two-year-old sales market right now?
I think it's very, very strong. There's 600 horses here this week. There were only about 150 down there at Gulfstream. This is a much broader market. It will be strong at the top. There's quite a bit of money here looking at horses already, but I think there are also going to be some very, very good buying opportunities because there are more horses. The Breeze show was very, very quick, but there really isn't that much difference between the ones with the big pedigrees, the quickest breezes, and just a notch under them are some very, very nice horses that I think are maybe going to be undervalued, possibly a little overshadowed by some at the very, very top.
Well, it's tough when everybody's on the same horse, and I think the people that can be a little bit creative and realize that a breeze is just one little aspect of a horse can really do well at a sale like this.
Well, you're exactly right. The breezes are an essential piece, but only one piece of the whole puzzle. And all the breezes have gotten out. Are you still there?
Yes.
All the breezes have gotten out. There's very little to separate them. Now it's time to go to the barns and look at more horses than maybe you ordinarily would, because the group is so tightly bunched just off the breezing. Now you've got to try to analyze how they did it and what they look like at the barn. Does something have a little fault that possibly you had a nice horse that lived with that particular fault. There's value here because there's 600 pre-selected nice horses.
Talking with Kip Elser, Kirkwood Stables, here on the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network. You can find him in barn number 3 at the upcoming OBS Sales. Kip, how about the advantages that somebody gets of buying a 2-year-old in training as opposed to a yearling? What are some of those advantages?
Well, the most obvious is that you get to see them go under tack, which racehorses have to do to win races, and they have to have stood a certain amount of pressure, hopefully not too much, but they have to have stood some pressure to get there. You're drafting for the NFL out of college rather than recruiting for out of high school to go to college. You get to see more, but along with more information, there's more factors to put into the mix, and buyers have to decide just how much weight to give to each individual factor. More information, more judgment.
Well, when you have a horse breeze good, everybody gets on him. But when you have a horse that maybe, instead of breezing in 10 flat goes in 10 and 2 or 10 and 3, how much effect does that have if the horse is a nice individual?
Well, hopefully not too much. I mean, there was a pretty definitive study done by the Blood Horse, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, on what a fifth of a second in breeze time does to affect the price. But you have to look at the overall circumstances. I mean, we had a filly yesterday who did not breeze particularly fast, didn't look well particularly doing it. The story behind the story is she was back at the chute, standing, waiting her turn to go, and there was a mishap up front of her, and next thing we know, a loose horse is coming flying down toward her. She certainly lost her concentration. Well, that's just one of the things that happens, and there's no getting around it. Nobody's looking for excuses, but there'll be a few people that were in the stands that saw all that happen, and they'll be over here.
Kip, when I look at your consignment at this year's sale, it's a small consignment, but a very select consignment, and I see names of leading sires like Bodemeister and a young sire like Creative Cause and even Mr. Sydney. Talk a little bit about this year's consignment and maybe look ahead to the Kirkwood consignments coming up at other sales.
Well, the Creative Cause filly is the one I was talking about a minute ago. She's a very nice filly, maybe not the best breeze. I give her an excuse. I hope the public will. She's a half-sister to a horse, Tom's Ready, who is, I hope, getting back on the Derby trail. He runs in the Spiral next. He was second to Mo Tom in the Lecomte at the fairgrounds. We had him, bought him for Mr. Benson last year at Saratoga. Nice filly. The Bodemeister colt is going to go long top and bottom of his pedigree, a Mayfoal, just a very, very solid horse. The Mr. Sydney, it's a wonderful experiment. Mr. Sydney has been brought over here to stand at Walmack from France, and the Head family wanted to send a couple of horses over here to try to get people knowing who Mr. Sydney is. So this is a colt that they sent from France to get out in front of the public here in Ocala and hopefully stir up a little interest in getting people to breed to Mr. Sydney this spring. He worked extremely well, and I'd be surprised if Johnny Jones's phone isn't ringing this week.
Well, there's few people who have done it as well as Kip Elser and Kirkwood Stables over the years. And, Kip, want to wish you all the best in this year's OBS sales and all the sales that you're going to be represented in over the course of the next several months. Continue the good work, and we'll look forward to catching up with you here up the road, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Great to talk to you guys.
All right, Kip Elser, Kirkwood Stables. You can learn more by going to kirkwoodstables.com.